topic. Okay, let's go.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Alexander Gaevsky. I am a software engineer from Ukraine. I'm running a small agency, MetaClass. We're doing custom e-commerce development on top of Python 3 Django and obviously Django Oscar. I started to write Python code in 2009 and Django code from 2011. So I first made the contribution to Django Oscar in 2015, and in 2016 I became a core contributor. So what is Django Oscar? Django Oscar is pretty much standalone Django application, which has all commerce core functionality in the inside. For the basket, checkout flow, shipping methods, taxation, analytics, complete dashboard for products management, products and order management. And also it has like unprecedented level of abstraction and customizability. Also it has discounting system, inventory, stock level alerts, and notification dispatcher. Okay, so what is this? How the customization is powered? So instead of making a direct imports of classes and models, you have a get model utility, which tries to load your model with this from the specified application. And if its model is custom one, it will load it. Otherwise, it will fall back to the original Oscar model or class. You can even customize the way how it loads it by providing a setting. If you need to customize entire application like basket or checkout, you can use Oscar for app management command, and it will copy from the Oscar package views, models, and all modules you can later on add in them. Okay, so let's assume you decided to use Oscar, and nowadays how you can design the project architecture. Obviously we're talking not about some simple generic eShop, but something rather complex. Okay, you can just take the Oscar and implement classic Django application. You can also implement single page application or progress web application, or you can implement hybrid application, which is a mix of templates and some reactive frontend. You can read about more about hybrid application approach in the article of Americo Agustin, Making React and Django Play Well Together. So how we should use it? Actually, some other approaches rather than just customizing the views and templates, if it's very easy. I mean, in terms of performance, I believe that single page application has the most biggest power, because you do not need to reload the pages, and you can just fetch data from the API. But if you want to implement, there is no boilerplate for the single page application on top of the Oscar. So you would basically need to implement it by yourself using React, Redux, Vue, VX, or either or. And it could take something around like 3 months. So, but I believe the most compromised solution is to use to implement hybrid. Yeah, let's say, otherwise we can see that for the basket management, Oscar uses form sets, and it's only line form set. Also, there is a basket line inside this form set. Yeah, it pretty much has a lot of code, And if you need to customize something, for example, availability validation or so on, you will need to dynamically load this form and rewrite the method in the form. We personally use a hybrid approach in our projects because it's a compromise of performance and development time. So you could use for that obviously something like React or Vue. We use mostly Vue because it's very easy to start with. And the simplest Vue application is this. You can later on implement products, load from the API, and so on. Vue is also powerful. It has components mixins, custom derivatives, plugins, filters, and so on. React has, I suppose, more power under the hood, but if you want to develop fast, I would recommend Vue. Okay, so regarding the API, there is already existing application called Django Oscar API. It's a bridge between the Oscar core functionality and Django REST framework. So it has all necessary functionality in the inside. You do not need to implement it from scratch. So it has basket management, checkout, order and order line details, user address management, login, product list, product pricing, and product availability. So basically, it's enough to start with. We personally have some custom checkout flows. So sometimes we implement API from scratch. Okay, so basically nowadays we are not limited how to build the project either or in Django or somehow else, but I believe that hybrid approach has a lot of advantages also in the UX. So let's see on the demo. It's a standard checkout flow of the Oscar. You go to the catalog, add the item to the basket. You manage your shipping addresses, and you can basically edit it. You can ship to this address. And finally, select payment method, preview the whole checkout flow, and submit an order. You can see, for example, how the basket management could look like with a reactive front end. So not sure what this. Okay, let's just keep it. The single page checkout. Single page checkout is a page where you have everything on basically one page. It has a shipping address management and selection, payment method selection, and like everything is on the one place, which is basically, if you show it to your clients, they will be delighted because conversion is probably better on the single page checkout. Your customer do not need to leave the page, and it's pretty much sleek. And I'm not sure how you would implement this within the classic Django application, because there is like a lot of front-end stuff here. If you're probably not convinced yet, I can show you catalog filters. So you have a product catalog. You select some criteria, and the front-end fetches new products list from the API and just updates the list, and you do not need to reload it on and on from the server. Okay. Also, you probably there is a good use case. It's a shipping policy in a way similar to Shopify, where you define fixed pricing and weight-based pricing. So this is also built on top of the Django Oscar, but it's heavily customized. All right, let's carry on. So one of the most popular requests from the clients is to build multi-vendor marketplace. By default, Django Oscar is a single vendor shop. So that means that we assume that all products supplied by one supplier. And but what about if you have a marketplace and you need to have products from multiple suppliers? You will need to implement a sub-basket and sub-order models, which would be nested from the orders. So basically, it's not quite an easy job, but let's see step by step. So firstly, you will need to alter your models and implement nested models for the basket and from the order. That will mean that sub-basket is a separate basket with all products supplied by this particular supplier, only this one. And so each sub-basket will be supplied by some unique partner. The same applies to the orders. Like order will have a nested orders, and every sub-order will be a mirror of the sub-basket. Then you'll need to edit original basket model. It has the add product method, and basically you will need to propagate addition of the product to the parent model, also to the sub basket. And the last one, you'll need to edit order creator, which in the order utils, and you'll need to inject some logic into the create order model. It has already a functionality to create order model. You will just need to create suborder containing the products of the specific vendor. Okay, let's see. So, of course, you will need to have payment in your checkout flow, and there are some ready-made community image packages, which are more or less up to date. Okay, Django Oscar Data Cache, Oscar PayPal, Oscar Doc Data, and Oscar DN. If you have a standard eShop, it's pretty much easy to decide what to use. But in the marketplaces where you can't hold the money and you need to somehow charge your customer and split the payments, the best would be to use Stripe, supercharges and transfers. It has a limitation, but if it works for you, it would be the best solution. To implement charges, you charge your customer, you immediately break the this transfer into this payment into the parts, and you make a payout for the suppliers. There is a like a standard design of implementing payment gateways in the Oscar. There is a facade. Facade is a bridge between Oscar and the gateway model, and gateway is a abstract model which has the basically payment logic. We can just skip it and implement gateway. So this is example how gateway looks for the PayPal Payflow package. So you can implement something for the Stripe. There's also a Stripe, Django Oscar Stripe, but it's only a skeleton. It doesn't have any logic. We used to implement integration on a lot of our projects. I mean, there is a very convenient API in the Stripe, so it's Stripe JavaScript SDK and Stripe wrapper for the Python. So, but where to put it into the checkout flow? There's a order placement mixin. You can inherit it and inject the integration into the handle payment method. So if you implement API, you can take your checkout serializer and inherit the order placement mixin again and call the place order method. Why place order? Because it has also nested logic, which creates model instance and so on, and you just need to override handle payment, which has specifically payment processing. Okay, it's typically that you could also have another use case if you have suppliers in the separate countries, for example, France, Switzerland, Belgium, and you have prices in the different currencies. Oscar is not aware of the currency. I mean, there is only a char field with the currency, but it's only for indication. So you can integrate a ready-made Django application, Django Money, Django Currencies, and Django Money Rates. So Django Money has a money field and currency field. Django Currencies has a currency model, and it has already a factor field, which means a difference with the given currency and the base currency. But if you need to have some base currencies, for example, like Swiss francs, euro, and dollars, it will not work, maybe. Also, Django Money Rates is pretty much suitable, so it should work as well. But there is one limitation here. Oscar validates the currency that it enforces all products have the same currency when you try to edit. So you will get a validation error, and you will need to basically write add product method in the model. All right, but let's see some tricky cases that you may see. So Oscar has already under the hood a good and powerful discounting system, which has like 4 parts. Is conditional offer, range, and benefit. Condition is condition for the discount. Offer is basically the model which unites all of this. Range means the product range which this discount will be applicable for, and benefit is which will get from this deal. The benefits could be fixed price and percentage discounts, and also you can get a discount for shipping as well. But for example, if you need to sell something within the discounted pricing, like today, and you don't want to provide vouchers and so on, because Oscar has already great support for vouchers. You can give a voucher code to your customers and they will get the discount. You can implement additional model. It could be called as a sale price, which will have relation one-to-one with the stock record. It will have a price, like sales price, which could be called as price exclusive tax. and validation dates. So because the deal will be limited in time, right? Okay, so how to inject this in the Oscar? You can override the default pricing strategy, which is basically the class which decides on pricing, availability, and so on. You need to override pricing policy, and basically here you see that we try to take a sale price from the stock record, and if it exists, we just apply it. And I mean, here we determine the pricing for the product throughout the Oscar. It doesn't matter where you would see the product, on the templates, on the admin, everywhere this method will be called. All right, but another case, there is a wholesale pricing. It's applicable for the wholesale e-commerce projects, which mean that the more you buy, the less the smaller price you will have. So it encourages for example, in the B2B platforms, it encourages the customers to buy more and to obviously vendors sell more as well. So there's already a solution, pretty much very suitable and great, by Vladimir Bolshakov. He proposed to introduce price for quantity model, and we need these changes to indicate what price you will have for a given quantity. So you define your quantity in the quantity field and price in the price field accordingly. So later in the partner pricing strategy, we will look in this model entries, and we will fetch necessary pricing. Okay, let's see how discounts are applied. There is a applicator class in the offer application, which has a site offers, basket, user, and session. And you see that the user offers and session offers are empty and not implemented. But let's add something. So there is also a case for cumulative discounts. When you buy more and more, and when you reach some limit of purchases, for example, 2,000 euro that year, you granted some kind of membership, and later you can have some small constant percentage discount. So let's see how we can implement this as well. Oscar conditional offer is very tight with the condition. So if you do not have condition, which is stored in the condition model, you cannot proceed with the discount. So we have to work it around. So there is a nameplate condition, and also there are some changes necessary in the conditional offer model. So let's see how we will assign this discount for the user. We can introduce a membership model, which will have title and offer. The offer is this conditional offer, which is a center around this whole discounting system. User has only one change, membership. So here in the offer applicator, we see that we just add the two lines. If user has membership, we show a list of this offer. All right. So another one, bonus system. Bonus system could be treated like if you buy some specific products. For each product, you can get some bonus points, which you can use later on for the purchases. It could be done by the seller to encourage people to buy certain products, and afterwards the customer will be rewarded the bonuses, and they can be spent. All right, so we add a bonus points field, which is decimal field, to the product model, and we also implement a signal receiver, which will be waiting for the purchases, and as soon as order placed, we sum up all the bonuses from those products that we have bought. And we just sum up them and increase user bonus points with this value. All right. Later on, user can. You will also need to implement payment gateway, which will allow for user to pay with the bonuses. There's also a necessity to provide gift cards. There is a ready-made application called Django Oscar Accounts, which could work basically with a conjunction with a bonus system, because it allows to directly provide a change of the payments. All right. So, but there is a caveat about the discounts. In the marketplace, where products supplied by the different vendors, you need to be careful, because supplier 1 could be providing an discount for his products, and supplier 2 may not be providing. So you, as a platform, will be providing discounts on the user basket on your own cost, if you do not differentiate this on the basket level. All right. So also we need to integrate invoices. So the invoices can be done by the ready-made application Django Oscar Invoices and the Fast Bill. Fast Bill is a German service which is pretty much suitable. You send there your supplier details, order details, and they take care of the invoices from end to end. Also, if you have delayed payments, you may need to notify your clients to pay if they miss the payment date. And there's also a German service that we use on our project called onlinebrief24.de. All right, so we have small particular plans within the next future to revise communication inside the Oscar and to make a solid, consolidated application in order to send all notification and so on. Also, we want to extract promotions, which is an application to manage some banners and so on, to the external package, and this will allow you to easily integrate Django, CMS, Wagtail, and so on. Also, currently, Oscar uses Sorl, and we want to provide for the developers ability to integrate any kind of thumbnail backend, which we are working on right now. The same also for the full text search backend. We currently use Django Hashtag, but we are working on the direct Elastic DSL integration, because we're pretty much limited when we need to upgrade, and packages that we use are not compatible with the latest Django right now. So the future, I suppose, if more and more developers uses combined approach and utilizes more API, then we probably do not need views, templates, and so on inside the core Oscar. So we're thinking about potential of extracting core functionality into one package might be called Django Oscar Core, and the second package is with the all representation, views, forms, templates called Django Oscar Storefront, and the dashboard. Dashboard is pretty much big by itself, so it does not make sense also to extract it. All right. Any questions?
Thank you. So what is the biggest Oscar deployment that you know of?
Not sure. I mean, I think that that's a probably question to David Winterbottom and Mike Hoffel, because they originally implemented some heavy Oscar sites, but we are working rather with the complex workflows. There are bottlenecks in the Oscar because when you display a catalog, you need to check a stock record for each product that you display. You need also to build the category tree, and I mean, if you cache all of this and properly utilizes the API, it should be pretty much good, but we didn't test on the very big load. If you mean some hundreds of thousands of views, I think it's pretty much doable, but we didn't try.
Thank you. I have another question.
Okay.
How do you interact with warehouses? Let's say that your stock isn't in your
warehouses, their suppliers can access the dashboard, and they can edit the product stock records by themselves. There is a stock record model which you can where you store the number of items in stock, how many were bought, and how many has left. So, but there is no like an integration. You may want to have a integration with this warehouse software. We don't have it yet. But I suppose this should not be complex. You can fetch the data from the warehouse software, parse it, extract the products, find them by SKU or UPS in the database, take related stock record, and then update number of the products in stock. Thank you.
So what is the approximate time to build and integrate Django Oscar to a standalone Django? And then
you mean to develop e-commerce project on top of the Django instead of the Oscar, or you want a comparison between how much time does it save Oscar?
Yeah, I mean you said that with Vue.js you say that it's
yeah.
simple, and then we can, for example, for simple e-commerce platform.
For the simple e-commerce platform, instead of 3 months for the front end, I think it's doable in the I suppose 3 weeks instead of this. Because I mean, in the single page application, imagine you need to develop all the front end by yourself to manage all the states within the Redux and so on. And in the hybrid approach, you can just take templates, implement some React components, and if you, for example, need some, you need to attach this component to the page, so you do not implement new templates and so on. Regarding the development time, standalone Django application versus Oscar, I suppose it's also around like 3 months. I would say maybe 4. The thing is that there's also a kind of cons of the Oscar. If you have a very custom workflow, checkout flow, you may need better to implement your e-commerce project from the scratch. because Oscar is a little bit tied within the standard checkout flow, like add product.basket, then proceed with the payment and so on, so like shipping method. So if you need to customize a lot of things here, baskets, checkout, and so on, that doesn't make sense to implement from scratch. Also, there is also example when Oscar is the best when you have a stock. And for example, you can indicate how many products you sold. But if you have a rental marketplace where you allow your customers to rent, you do not have a stock, because you know how many products, for example, bicycles, you allow to take into rent, but you do not know which ones are particularly available. So you need to determine when they are available. For example, from tomorrow to next week, or today from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. So in these cases, we do not use Oscar. Yeah.
So if I want to integrate Oscar, what is the most time consuming for the basic workflow?
What is the most time consuming? This chain of implementing basket, models, middleware, and so on, and checkout. Yeah. So order creation and so on. So this is the core functionality that always necessary. In terms of discounts, you may use them or you may not need the discounts. All right?
Do you have any other questions? No? So, thank you, Alexander.
Thank you for listening.